Hey, everybody. Grant Miller here. I'm with Steadman Stahl, South Florida, PBA.
Yes, sir.
What does that stand for?
South Florida PBA is a Police Benevolent Association. We represent the officers from Key West to all the way up to Aventura, Miami-Dade County being one of our largest one for the Miami-Dade Police Department. We represent Monroe County Sheriff's Office and detention deputies and a whole host of cities throughout Dade County.
How many officers and staff you represent in Miami-Dade County?
In Miami-Dade County, we're close to 7,000. We also represent our 911 call takers, dispatchers, animal services, corrections.
Animal services under
Yep, we represent them. We represent the corrections as one of our larger groups as well, and we even have the ethics department from Miami-Dade County falls under us.
And how many in Monroe County?
Monroe County has we represent about 300 down there between the deputies and the.
It's interesting when you go to the Keys. You think you're in the Keys once you pass that old bar. What's that old?
Gilbert's.
No, the saloon right before you.
Last Chance.
People think the Keys start there. They don't. They start much farther down.
Much further into the Keys. The border is it's an 18-mile stretch, so they're right in the middle there.
Yeah,
if you go that way.
So,
and if you go to the Cartown Road, it's a boat dock at Alabama Jacks.
Is that where it is?
Yep, that's
Alabama
the
Jacks.
line.
What side's Alabama?
Alabama Jacks is Monroe County. So where the boat dock is, that's right where the boat dock.
So now I know. How long South Florida PBA been around?
We've been around. We were formerly called the Dade County PBA. We started in 1962, and in I want to say my second year as president. I'm going on my fifth year now.
Flies by, huh?
Yeah, just got reelected unopposed, and once we picked up Monroe County, one of the concerns that we had with some of our members and the commissioners that we deal with down in the Keys was that they weren't really keen on the name, and so we decided to be a little bit more inclusive. Is where we switched our name to the South Florida PBA, so that we can be a little bit more inclusive. Key West is our biggest city down there in the Keys that we also represent.
And Key West is pretty unique. People don't realize there's a huge military base.
Huge.
And Key West High School, some years they're great in sports, and some years they're not, because all of a sudden 20 parents or fathers or mothers get transferred out. Those kids leave, so sometimes the baseball and the basketball, football are unbelievable.
It's a great town, but what the Keys are starting to feel, which we're feeling here in Dade County, is that you just can't afford to live down there anymore. So we get a lot of officers that are retired out of New York City because they'll see there's a job down there at Key West Police Department, and it looks great on the internet. When you get down there and you're looking for a place to live, it's almost impossible.
While we're talking about that, so police officers in Dade County compared to police officers in Gainesville, Tallahassee, pay level, is there?
It's much different. The South Florida is much different than, like, say, a Tallahassee, Pensacola when it comes to pay and stuff like that. Also, the cost of living is much more down.
Well, because people don't realize state attorney's office, teachers all get paid almost the same across the state.
Correct.
And it costs 20-30% more to live here. But Dade County police and Monroe, they're paid not out of state funds, funded out of Dade County or Monroe County, correct?
Correct. And so like state troopers, for an example, they fall into the Florida PBA, but the state troopers that are in Miami are paid a little bit different than the state troopers that say up in Clay County or Leon County, because the cost of living, again, is much cheaper. It's much more expensive down here. And that's becoming to be a real crisis in police departments right now, trying to maintain staffing levels and retaining and keeping qualified people. We had a mass exodus of police officers just the last couple of years, and we're still seeing the effects of it. A lot of it had to do with that anti-police, the defunding nonsense that we heard that was going on.
But we didn't have that in Florida.
No, we didn't. But we had the effects of it. And if you get caught up in that social media and the TV and stuff like that, somehow we became the bad guys, and that did have some effects on a lot of people where people are just. We have a thing called the drop for the county, the state retirement system, and people were hitting that 25-year mark, and they were just leaving. They weren't staying around. You weren't seeing the people staying past the 25 years.
Past their date. People don't realize police officers, it looks like a cush job. It is. Yeah. It's a cush job until that one time that you have to save somebody's life, or you have to protect somebody's life, or there's somebody shooting for no reason.
It's grass always looks greener on the other side. It looks good if you see the officers there, I guess, in a restaurant or
right.
and an officer friendly program. But I assure you that there is nothing gut wrenching that when you get an alarm call at 2:00 in the morning at somebody's house, and you don't know if it's an accidental alarm, and you're going to have to now walk around that person's house hoping that it's not a homeowner that's going to see somebody with a flashlight in your backyard.
Right.
Or when you on a traffic stop. I mean, there's no routine traffic stops, but on a traffic stop, they can turn on you in a second.
Right. Every time I go to a doctor's office, I go, the bill's so expensive. And you go, Doc, why is it so expensive? It's because I know what's wrong. I can help you as a cop or a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
You go, it's such an easy job. Yeah, but like you say, you pull a person over, you don't know what's going to happen. Or you pull up to just driving in New York. Yes. It's like they're just sitting in parking lots and people shoot at them. So it's a scary thing.
Listen, in the police work, probably 80% of the contact the average public is going to have with the police is going to be negative. It's a traffic stop that you're probably going to get a ticket on. We're coming into a domestic violence that we've had, that this relationship's had 30 years to fall apart, and we've got to come in and within minutes figure out who's right or who's wrong. And we're coming in negative situations. And you spend all that effort in these neighborhoods, working with the youth and trying to bond that relationship. And then mom and dad get into a fight and the officers show up and somebody goes to jail. You've just upset that child.
It's a no-win situation.
It is. It's a very difficult situation. And it's easy for them to throw rocks at us and make comments about us and stuff like that, because it's hard for us to defend ourselves.
Now, I understand that I read it somewhere that when there's domestic violence, they don't want the police to go over there. They want to have a different group of people. Where did I read that? Or I heard
that's more the I think the mental illness they were talking about. Instead
right.
of sending police officers, they want to send mental health counselors in instead of police in some of those situations. Unfortunately, you don't know what they're going to go into. There's actually a union for those healthcare workers that go in and deal with it. And there's an uptick on murders of these social workers that you're going to check on somebody. And if they're not on their medications or not, they're going to attack the healthcare worker because and again, when you get dispatched calls, you have a call that somebody's in the middle of an intersection and they're acting erratically. Is it because they're under mental illness, or is it because they're out to harm somebody? Who do you send? Do you send the police and the caseworkers? So that's a program I think that they're still looking at to implement here. I don't know how it's going to work. It all comes down to money.
Everything gets down to that.
Right. Money's going to be the ground zero to everything.
I mean, so you had a big gala last week.
We did.
I didn't see my ticket. I didn't get my ticket in the mail. How many people showed up?
We had over 1,100. It was
Where was it?
It was at we had it at Trump in Doral.
Right.
It was
that's the only place you can hold it, right?
I can tell we used to do it over on Miami Beach and stuff like that, but the traffic's so difficult to get to. The valet is very difficult, and then the size of it was a big issue. 1,100 was the largest crowd we've ever had. The last one we couldn't have one the last 2 years due to COVID. The one before that we had broken a record at 1,000. This one we ran out of tables.
Was this a fundraiser, or was it just a get together, or say kumbaya? What's it about?
It's our gala does.
Who's the guest speaker? And who was the guest speaker?
Our guest speaker was Marco Rubio. He was our guest speaker. We had guest speaker Marco Rubio. He was our keynote speaker.
Right.
And we had the Lieutenant Governor Jeanette Nunez show up to also speak.
She's a fan favorite.
Hey, listen, you can't go wrong. And first time I ever met the governor, the very first time I ever met him, he was running when he was running. I said, I didn't know much about you. And I said, I don't know your track record, but your ability to pick people, and you picked a local girl right here from Miami, Jeanette, I think says volumes about your decision-making process.
Absolutely.
And she's been great.
She is, when she comes around, she doesn't forget anybody. She says hello to people. She greets people. She knows what's important to Miami. So you're right. The governor made a great choice. Yes. At that time, he was governor.
Listen, I'm in Tallahassee. A lot of times you'll go up there and they can't see you. They're always in meetings. She always takes a moment if we're up there to say hi to us. She doesn't walk past a police officer without thanking them or any of our first responders out there. I think they do that.
Yeah, it's impressive. All right, so was that a fundraiser or just a gathering?
So it's a policeman's ball. It was our policeman's ball.
And how did police officers dress? Do they dress in tuxes, or they wear?
We had the largest honor guard that we've ever had attend this one. We had over 30 different agencies that sent one of their honor guards. They come in uniform with their flags and everything. We had bagpipes.
Was it totally impressive?
It was, again, it was, there's a lot of things that go into it, and I'm telling you, I'm very proud of it. And we had a Marine.
Who organized it?
It's our executive board, the PBA. So we have it there. We have somebody that's in charge of the catering that we meet with the hotel. They do that. We have a guy he coordinates the honor guard, and it's a team effort that we all kind of put together, and it comes together. And getting 1,100 people, but we had some curveballs that were thrown at us,
like
stuff
what?
like that.
Like what?
But the biggest one for me was that the event started at 5:30, and I go to put on my tuxedo, and my shirt is 5 sizes too small.
Oh, the shirt shrunk.
My shirt shrunk. Well, they put the wrong shirt on the wrong hanger. What the size on the hanger said was not the size of the shirt on that.
Okay.
And so the event starts in 15 minutes. And
are you staying at the hotel?
I'm at the hotel, and it's 15 minutes. And I'm going. It starts at 5:30, and I'm putting on my tuxedo, which I tried the jacket and pants on. I normally try the shirt on. They didn't tell me to. They said, "Oh, don't worry about it. The shirt's always right." And when I go to put the shirt on, I've got 15 minutes to get from there to Men's Warehouse, which is in Doral. A little bit of a line, but I had to cut the line to it, and they're ripping bags open. They got me in a shirt, and I was walking back in at 10 minutes to 6.
We've all done that. I don't need to try the shoes. I don't want to try this.
Let me tell you, it'll never happen again. It's just things like that. But the event itself, the video, we do video reenactment. So what we do, though, we honor our dead first in the beginning part of it. We honor the dead, the people that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. We had a lot of people that were put on the floor, on the wall at our police memorial. We had 3 of the families of officers that had died due to COVID. And we had them there. We presented them with a token of appreciation. And we had a 99-year-old Marine that was referred to us. He's from Pennsylvania. And I'm telling you, he was one of the...
You flew him in?
He flew in. He came in, and he did God Bless America on a harmonica. And it seems kind of funny, but I'm telling you, it was so impressive that the lieutenant governor who's sitting next to me she says, I've got to meet that guy. And I said, well, let's go meet him. And then our mayor, Cava, was there. And she wanted to meet him. And Carlos Jimenez, our congressman, was there. So I got to meet the guy.
It's hard for me to call him congressman. I'm so used to calling him Mayor Jimenez.
I've made the mistake once in a while, too, and stuff like that. You have to do it. And but he was there. And we just had, I think we had about every judge in Dade County there and stuff like that. A lot of our elected officials. But we had the officers there. So we do in the beginning part of it is where we honor the dead, the fallen, And then we go into some of our leadership awards, and then we go into our Officer of the Year. We have reenactment videos, and it's just a really great presentation. And at the end of it, we have a little bit of dancing and a little bit of a celebration.
By that time, it's 11 o'clock. You're exhausted.
That was 10 because we had to get Calvin Hughes was our MC,
and he had a good news.
10, and he's supposed to be off that night, and the anchor that night got sick, and he had to go in, so we had to get him out of there by 10 p.m. so he could get to his job, which he did.
All right. So what does the PBA do for the members?
We do a lot of things. So a lot of the stuff that we do is first and foremost, we provide the legal protection for the officer. That's probably the biggest thing that you're doing. That that we're the ones that are going to be out there when the officers need legal assistance for different things. We do that. The second thing that we do is
how many lawyers do you have? Or do you job a lot of it out?
We have 6 full-time lawyers that work for me at the PBA, work for the PBA.
For the PBA.
Totally assigned to the PBA. That's all they do is work for the members. And then we have about another 20 associate attorneys, so that if it goes criminal, we can outsource it to an outside attorney.
And this is just for mistakes that could have happened.
Yes.
Or questionable mistakes.
Yeah, the one that most recently was a prosecution of an officer that I think they did a little bit of an overcharging on it. But
he found
John Song.
He found innocent.
He found not guilty, all 4, on 4 counts, and that's a jury of his peers. That wasn't police officers sitting up there, and they put the case together, and he was found not guilty.
He was on leave of absence.
He was relieved of duty without pay.
Why without pay?
That's what happens when you're charged with a felony. They stop.
Does he get the money back?
Yes, he's starting to process that because he's found not guilty. That's what you've stopped it for, and then he's in the process now of getting that money back. But that's a
devastating for him and his family.
Crushing, and I'll tell you the worst part of it. It took 4 years for it to happen, and a lot of it was because the courts shut down. And something I learned, I didn't know this. He's got to be out on a bond, which that's acceptable. But the bonds expire, and expired not because of him not wanting to go to trial. The bonds expired because it was just a time, because the courts were closed.
Right.
And so he had to go out and repay the bondsman, and stuff like that. Those are things you don't get back. And then the trial, the emotions. So we do that. The other big one is contract negotiations. We're always constantly working to increase the benefits and the pay of the officers and the different people that we represent. And we just recently, Miami-Dade County made history. We had a Law Enforcement Appreciation Day that just passed. I believe it was on the 13th. It's going to be the Friday before every police week. That's something that hasn't been done anywhere in the country. It's not just a day, a Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, but they made it a paid county holiday. And that hadn't been done anywhere in the country. And we're hoping, I know contagious is a bad word to say sometimes, but we're hoping it becomes contagious. And we already have some cities now that want to follow suit with that. And we're hoping that it spreads through the country about, it's okay to like your police officers, where in some communities they don't. Not down here in Dade County and not in Florida. I really don't see it here in Florida, but look around the country and you'll see the price they pay for turning their backs on the police officers.
So while you were talking about appreciating your officer, and I was going to, next question was going about the Pig Bowl. Now, before we get to the Pig Bowl, Big O.
That's going way back.
Yeah. Arthur Wellings.
Yeah.
As his nickname is Big O. He used to play in the Pig Bowl. But I remember we used to coach in the same league together. And the guy, and Chief Coke Watson with South Miami PD.
Yep.
And Keith Green. He was a Miami-Dade Cup,
Yes,
right?
he was.
All these guys used to coach in Little League football and then on to high school. And people realize they come out, they're just humans.
Yes. Dave Greenwell, Dave Greenwell played on the Pig Bowl. Dave Richards, those are people that you know.
Right.
I mean, a lot of them, but
I'm making a point that police officers are human.
yes, they are. Yes,
and when they coach, it's like, like when Marco Rubio coached Little League football. He's a United States Senator when he's off the field, but when he's on the field, he's a coach. As cops, they're just regular people.
And that's where I think a big thing gets lost at is that, they're not just police officers. I mean, that is an admirable profession. Our correction officers, our 911 call takers, our animal service, everybody, they're not just, that's what their job is, but they are neighbors. They're fellow neighbors. They're fellow mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, t-ball coaches, football coaches, soccer coaches. These are all, we have a lot of police officers that give of their own that are out there in these food banks that do that on their own. I mean, officers that adopt children from all over the country, world, they adopt and they bring them into their houses and stuff like that. But they're part of this community. We're also taxpayers. And so we put our money back into this community and stuff like that. And, I'm hoping we're getting away. And I think here we do in Miami-Dade County or Monroe County, even Florida. South Florida. I think all of South Florida. This us against them mentality. I don't think we have that.
No.
Once in a while, you'll get an agitator that'll try to draw that up. Once in a while, you'll get that person that wants to draw you off sides. But the overall people out there, I feel good that they support the police.
Yes, South Florida. It's, I try to explain to people, we're a different breed here. We're 305 or 786. We all get along.
We're a melting pot.
Yes.
We have all parts.
So we have the Pig Bowl. No more Pig Bowl.
No, Pig Bowl went away.
You have a barbecue
long time
now
ago.
or something?
We do we've been doing cigar socials have become very popular. We've been doing car shows, antique car shows. We've just started to get into those. And that is incredible.
Now you guys are hosting them?
We host them. We have an old police car. We have a 1985 Grand Fury, the old Miami Vice style cars. And so we've been hosting them. There's really a need for them, and the turnout's been tremendous.
Where do you host it?
At the PBA, right there in our parking lot and stuff like that. It's getting so big that we're probably going to have to move it off because it started off with a couple of hundred cars, and now it's and we're doing a motorcycle one now. We just do a motorcycle one because we're finding there's different. I've got a very active board of directors, and that's one thing that I wanted us to engage the community a lot more. And we're going to be doing a pig cook-off up in November. I might maybe come and be one of our judges,
I was a judge at Berry Farm, the rib contest. I was with Julio Guzman and Commissioner Cohen Higgins.
Two great people.
By the way, Ocean Cadillac. That's in North Miami Beach.
Yep.
One of the owners is Mario of Brooklyn Motors. He has probably the best antique car collection. You really
I'd love to see it.
Well, you could go to Ocean Cadillac. You could see it. There's a glass case. He has Cadillacs with crank Cadillacs.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure you get on the other side of the glass. We could arrange that for you.
I'd love it.
And it's like he has them. There's so many of them, and they're stacked up. There's like a lift in there, so there's different car. It's just unbelievable. I'm not a big car collector,
I was surprised when we did this how many of our police departments out there have old cars. Medley has an old 50s, looks like a street rod car. Beautiful.
Well, what year?
Harbor, it's got to be in the 50s.
Well, Medley's still in the 50s. Most people don't know where Medley is.
It's if you drive a truck, you do. If you're a truck driver, you're going to be over there. But North Miami has an old car.
Maybe one day you get all the cities to bring their antique cars in.
They did. We did the last
they
one.
do?
Yeah, we did the last one. We had about 15 agencies that brought them in.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's great. So we try to, it's not just just the car shows you have, and then the motorcycle guys have been calling and saying, listen, we want to do a motorcycle show. So we have a motorcycle one being planned coming up in the next couple of months.
You could probably overtake Tropical Park and do it.
We could do that one right now for sure. We're about as big as we can do it because it goes almost wraps all around. We're in Doral. We got the free trade zone.
Right.
We take a big chunk of it up there. We have to do it on the weekends so we don't interfere with the other businesses.
All right. So a little bit about you. You grew up where?
I grew up in Kendall back when the youth fair was on 97th and Kendall.
At K-Land.
K-Land was at K-Land.
I went there. I mean, I remember going as I must have been fourth or fifth grade, like 69, 60, like 67.
I grew up right behind Baptist Hospital, and my parents
behind Baptist,
right behind Baptist Hospital.
Your parents still live there?
My parents bought it in 1965.
That land's worth millions now.
Well, it was so funny when we did. My father passed away, and then my mother wanted to sell it, and she took a for sale sign. She went to a hardware store and got a for sale sign and nailed it to a palm tree and sold it in 10 minutes to a city of Miami officer driving by and bought it. I said, I think we're selling a little too quick here. And now I went to Killian Senior High School.
What year did you graduate, Kelly?
83. I went to Kenwood. Kendale first opened up for 2 years. I went to Glades because they kept changing the boundaries around where we're at. And Kenwood is where I graduated elementary school. Went to Glades, Arvida. But I graduated from Killian. And I live down in Homestead now.
Did you play sports there?
I didn't.
Did you know Kenny Floyd?
I knew of him. But when I was there, one of my teachers was, you'll know him, Chris Fagotis, who later
Coach
Fagotis.
He's a legend.
Yes, that later went on with Howard Schnellenberger.
Right. He used to do.
Coach Cooley was there. He later went on to South Miami.
Sam Miller was there when he was there?
Sam Miller was there. Yep, he was a JV coach, I think, when I was there.
All right. So you grew up in
the Kendall, but it's not the Kendall you see now. I can tell you that there was a lot more woods back then. Galloway Glen Estates, which are those nice homes that live there, that was all woods.
It was great.
Then. And then I moved down to Homestead. I want to say about 89, and I've got a house down there by Southdale High School now. So I've lived there, and I don't think I'm ever going to move away. I think I'm going to die in South Florida.
So when you go home for the day, are you like you're in another world? Did you go? Where's the boundary for you that you'll? Everybody has one.
It's funny. It depends where you live at, and people say, "Oh, you live way down in Homestead." I said, "Well, you live way up north."
Right.
You know what your perspective is. Homestead is really exploded down there. We've got.
But you're really not in Homestead.
I'm in the Redlands.
Redlands. Redlands is in California. I get corrected by everybody. Yeah. So how far are you away from Berry Farm?
Oh, Berry Farms. I'm probably 5 minutes.
And Robert is here?
Robert is here is probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
That place.
I go down there and get a milkshake.
It is crazy. Yeah. Robert is here. He's I did a video with him. He's a funny guy.
Sure.
But it's crazy. People are just crazy there when they get there.
The line is out the door on the weekends. I'll go on Tuesday, Wednesday when we don't have all the tourists down there. I can get right up there and get a milkshake. Usually I pick up my son and we'll run down there and get a milkshake.
And how old's your son?
He just turned 18 and he's leaving the United States Marine August 22nd. And so he's graduating South Dade. His graduation's tomorrow, matter of fact. And,
great day in your house.
Graduating South Dade High School. So.
Marines are special people.
It is, and I'm glad that he picked it. I mean, I was looking at different, maybe the Air Force might be the Space Force was the future, and but he went and met with each of the recruiters, and he liked the Marines. He took it. And
where's he going to be? Where is he going?
He wants to be an embassy guard.
Right.
So his first 13 weeks is in South Carolina, Paris Island. That's where they'll really
Right.
test your abilities there. He gets 30 days off, and then he goes to artillery school in North Carolina. And then the embassy training is somewhere in Virginia they have to go to. And normally a recruitment's 4 years, but for an embassy guard, it's 5 years. And I hope that he...
What high school did he go to?
South Dade High School. He's South Dade. He went with Keone McGee, that same school that Keone McGee.
Keone McGee, who people don't realize he was a high school wrestler at South Dade
Yes,
High.
and he was one of the champions there.
Yeah, he has done more in 2 years
Yes.
than he did 8 years as a state representative.
Yes.
He is, state reps sometimes get confused and lost. He came back 2 years. He has really brought his district and all Dade County to a new level.
Listen, I've got the benefits of my area is kind of touched by two good commissioners, Danielle Cohen-Higgins and Keone McGee. My commissioner, Cohen-Higgins, and I can tell you they've put their efforts into that district, and I don't care. You could used to be able to tell where what district ended. The grass wasn't getting cut.
Right.
They've done a great job of making that South Dade area really come to life.
Well, it's interesting because you live in what we call UMSA, unincorporated.
Yes,
And before, the county commissioners didn't pay attention to UMSA.
that's correct.
And now in the South Dade area, this is the first time we have people that are concentrating and improving South Dade. And as you know, during COVID, the number one industry was agriculture,
Yes,
not tourism.
yes.
And South Dade, I don't want to say homestead, I don't want to say red. It's all South Dade agriculture brought us all up. It kept our tax base.
Listen, I used to work in the ag unit at the police department. We did illegal dumping back there, and then at some point they did away with it. And then when it became unmanageable, they just reinitiated the illegal dumping unit, which it's very important. But our agriculture out in that area, it's really we're losing it. Robert is here. They're building a development right at his front door. You know it. You saw that.
I saw it.
The
It was like
signs.
scary.
They're building right at his front door, and there's been a lot of pushes trying to run him out. And he's a tough son of a gun.
Oh, he's tough.
He's tough, and luckily the commissioners have always supported that. They haven't let him get pushed out. That sometimes people do try to push him out, but he's stuck.
Peter from Snebley
Yes,
is the godfather of Redland.
really. I didn't know. that.
I don't mean Redland, but he's because of him and Dennis Moss
Yes.
allowing things to build businesses there. Peter is one of the first ones, and all those other businesses were there, but Peter really said, "Come to South Dade. Don't just don't drive through." So Peter, I think, has done a lot of stuff, but everybody's done their job. Cohen-Higgins is really digging her heels in South Dade, so it's great.
Yeah, I think, and again, it's the the Air Force Base took a big hit after Hurricane Andrew, and that really
Now it's called a reserve base.
Yeah, and it took a devastating hit on that area right there. But I mean, I know you've been down there. I mean, we've got Amazon is just it's incredible how big it is, and it's so big it's taken two parts of it, and that UPS has a huge distribution center down there.
I want to let you be aware of. I ate at Shivers Sunday.
It's a good place.
Yeah, and the Campbells, who live in Palmetto Bay near Palmer Trinity, are the owners of Shivers. And I don't know, there's a line for takeout. There's a line to get in there. It's just unbelievable, and I love that it's homegrown Shivers, and it's all good.
One of the things that I found what I do is when I work in Doral and I got to drive to Homestead. Usually when I get to that Snapper Peak Service Plaza, I'm calling in an order to either Shriver, so it's waiting for me there, or Cracker Barrel. We have Cracker Barrel down there, Texas Roadhouse. We've got all. So I've learned it's just I could call the order in, and so the food's waiting for us. And
speak about South Dade. Project was just bought land, 18 acres, $13 million. Took over one of the packing house land right near Florida City Hall, and they're going to invest $100 million. The investors,
yes,
build shopping center, apartment building. It'll change.
Listen, Homestead has changed. The South Dade area has changed. The big move that I saw when I started my career off with the city of Homestead as a police officer in Homestead in 1990, right before Hurricane Andrew, and everything east of the highway. It was all just palm tree farms, and
Right.
there was nothing out there. Now you got a hospital out there. You got the housing developments out there.
Racetrack.
A racetrack that people laughed at, when they were building it down there, and it's top of the line. But South Dade itself, it's the police department from when I was there. It's totally different. Florida City, they're having to invest.
Are they renaming? Was that today? Or
Yeah,
yesterday?
they were supposed to be last week. They were going to rename the police station after
Shriver.
R.S. Shriver.
What happened? It rained out.
COVID. A couple of the family members had
Oh,
COVID, so they decided to
wait.
change the date on it.
Oh, good.
So.
Because I go, oh, shoot, I missed it. It's time's up. If you have any questions, South Florida PBA,
Yes.
they serve all Dade County, all the way to Key West. And any last comments?
Yeah, listen, I want to thank the community newspapers. You guys do a good job, and I'm a big fan. I follow you guys. You do a good job out there, highlighting different parts of the community that need it, and you bring attention to issues that need to be protected. But you guys have been a big supporter of the police and public safety.
I've only been arrested a couple of times, so don't worry.
That's okay. That's
Okay.
okay. Every sinner, has a future, and every
Right.
saint has
Cool.
a past, right? But it's organizations like you that have done a good thing and doing it. And that's why I think that we have again, there is agitators out there that try to draw us off sides, but I know that the overall community loves its police officers and our correction officers, our 911 call takers. It's a great thing. And it's people like you that do it. And I want to thank you.
My pleasure. When you see a police officer, thank him for his
Tell him
service.
thank you.